Glamrock Bonnie, poor defenseless baby boy Glamrock Bonnie, he was taken from us, stolen from us. But what evil snatched this beautiful rabbit boy from our FNAF world? Was it Montgomery Gator, who in his jealousy of Bonnie's Glamrock stardom decided to undo his lifeu and steal his position in the band? Or perhaps it was Vanny, who brained Bonnie with a bowling ball in Bonnie Bowl. Had Bonnie perhaps seen something that would mess up Vanny's plans to bring back Afton, or maybe even helping out the Mimic? Forcing her to silence my boy Bonnie forever. Or maybe it was the Mimic who removed Bonnie from the Pizzaplex in order to escape his Fazbear cage. These three right here are our top suspects in FNAF's greatest mystery. Who ended Glamrock Bonnie? And the results of this investigation are gonna leave you shook.
Hello? Well, if you're hearing this, then
like and subscribe. Now, if we want to give Bonnie the respect he deserves, if we want to give Bonnie the revenge that he deserves, we need to come back to the scene of the crime, and that is Bonnie Bowl, the final resting place for our beautiful rabbit friend who was unceremoniously removed from our FNAF world. Now, look over here. We need to analyze, we need to CSI this entire place. So get your eyes looking, get your theories in the comment section below, get your myths and experiments down there as well. We need to solve once and for all who did Glamrock Bonnie in. Now, as I said in the intro, we've got three major suspects, but you could also probably throw into the mix, along with the Mimic, Vanny, and Montgomery Gator, you could probably throw Roxanne Wolf in there as well. However, I really don't think it was Roxanne. As you can see throughout this whole game, Roxanne, whilst being quite aggressive, I think she is only aggressive towards Gregory because Gregory nicked her eyes, stole her eyes basically, and she was around about. She seems to have more sentience in this game. She recognizes Cassie and recognizes Cassie from the past. It is the other feral creatures in this place that seem to be more of the troublemakers. That's why we're talking about Monty, because he has zero redeeming qualities. That man's just out there for some animatronic blood, you know what I'm saying? So let's go through here, find out where Bonnie was, and do you know what the worst thing about all of this was? The events of Security Breach. We came up here with Gregory. We came up here as Gregory, and Bonnie was just on this other side of the wall the entire time. He was just there. We've been hunting for him for months, years actually. And sweet Bonnie was just on the other side of the wall. So let's go and examine the body and let's find all the clues we need to solve this case. Oh, I love playing this game. Security Breach Ruin has brought back FNAF to the peak of its existence in this franchise. This is one of the best games I've ever played FNAF-wise, and I am enjoying it. And hey, if you want to enjoy it too, but don't have the base game of Security Breach to play, then hey, I've got a competition for you. If you would like to be in with a chance to win one of the free copies of Security Breach I'm going to be giving away, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment down in the comment section below. Now, the comment could be anything. Tell me when you joined the franchise. Let me know who your favorite animatronic is. Or hey, who do you think did Bonnie in? Was it Vanny? Was it Monty? Was it Vanessa? Was it your mother? Who did it? But to enter the competition for a chance to win a free copy of Security Breach, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment down in the comment section below. Good luck! Before we go any further, who do you think ended my poor sweet rabbit friend over here? Do you think it was Monty? Do you think it was Vanny? Do you think it was the Mimic? Do you think it was Roxanne Wolf? Who do you think put an end to our friend over here? Now, let's analyze this scene. Obviously, I've shut down these bots at some point, but Bonnie's eyes are still on, which is very interesting. So does that mean Bonnie's soul is still alive in there? Bonnie is still alive in there, listening to me just stare at his body and try and work out who did this to you. Give us a clue. Bonnie, give us a clue. So, what do we know? From looking at this area, what do we know? The event has obviously happened here. I think this is the scene of the crime. Bonnie's body has not been brought here from somewhere else. That means the event happened in Bonnie Bowl itself. So, we can gather from the evidence around here that these wet floor bots have obviously come through here on their own after the event. Whether they were summoned via Bonnie, it was this Bonnie trying to put his soul into each and every single one of these little, what does Doggo call them? Pats, the wet floor sign, that I think they're called caution bots in the files. Did Bonnie separate his soul and put them in there? Did Bonnie summon these guys to try and ask for help? Because Bonnie clearly can't move. He's been absolutely destroyed over here. Absolutely destroyed, which we'll get onto a very important point later on. So, we've got the 4 caution bots. Once you deactivate them, that's when this room gets unlocked, and you can come in here, and there's the 4 that are alive, the last remaining caution bot signs. So they're here either protecting Bonnie or guarding the area from anybody else finding Bonnie. They're very important points that we'll get onto later. So, we'll look at the body first. This is obviously where it has happened. Bonnie was lured in here, whether that was on the premise that whoever did it, let's say Vanny, the Mimic, or Montgomery Gator has lured Bonnie in here, and then they have gone ahead and destroyed him. Or was this a crime of opportunity? Bonnie probably has some sort of things he needs to do backstage, whether this is, because this isn't his green room, this is obviously where all the balls come back after they are, the 10-pin bowling, the customers have bowled the ball down the alley, they've knocked out all the pins, strike, well done, and then the balls get brought back through here. Now, are the broken balls that are the ones back here, or are they balls that just need fixed? Either way, Bonnie is playing with his balls back here, okay? He's playing with them, and somebody has caught him unaware. From what we can see, first of all, there's a big old damage mark on this wall, and a scrape as well. You can see that Bonnie has clearly been smashed, and he has landed in this wall over here. So Bonnie's back's been up against a wall, or his front, we don't know. But he has been smacked against this wall here, judged by this mark. And then these scrapes is probably when Bonnie has been... he's been surprised, obviously. So he's been smacked against the wall, and he slid down the wall. And that's what these scraping marks here are. From being against the wall, just by the way he is probably positioned and the damage that's on the front, his front has been scraped, but he has also been scratched and cracked. So he's probably been hit, potentially, over the back of the head with a bowling ball. As you can see here and here, that is a broken bowling ball, these bits over here. And now they must have been hit with some force, which leads me on to, again, who I think it is. But Bonnie's probably been cracked over the back of the head with a bowling ball, smacked chest against here, comes down the wall, and then probably falls back into the bishop position we see him here. Now, this is when the next part of the damage comes in. So, as you can see here, on the front, we have got loads. Over here, we have got loads of claw marks. Huge claw marks on the front here. So whatever beast has attacked Bonnie here and put the final touches onto him has had massive claws. So I think we can pretty much rule out Vanny over here, or at least Vanny doing the dirty deed herself. It could have still been Vanny ordering one of the animatronics, because we know Vanny actually did have some sort of instrument to control animatronics in Security Breach, so she could potentially have controlled one of the animatronics to come and do this. But we can safely say Vanessa/Vanny did not do the deed herself. So, what animatronics? Now, I've seen a lot of people talking about the green marks here on the chest. I don't think that indicates who actually did the deed, because yes, Montgomery Gator's green, and yes, Roxanne Wolf has green fingernails. I think these marks over here are scrapings off the wall. As you can see here, the Bonnie has slid down the wall after having some sort of impact, and that's why you've got the color discolor here, because why else would there be so much green? It looks like he slid all the way down the wall. But I could be wrong. I'm just trying to CSI this. If I'm getting anything wrong, you can let me know down in the comment section below. And then obviously, the final touch has probably been either another bowling ball to the head, or at that point, if we have a look, when Bonnie lies on the floor, look at the state of his body. He has been absolutely torn, literally limb from limb. The only limb that I think is attached still is maybe this one up here, his right arm. Might still be attached, but just judging by the way it's angled, it might not be, because it's clipping through, so I don't know. I can't tell, but the rest of them, he's been ripped. Like the bottom portion of his leg is separated from the top portion, which is separated from his hips on both legs. This arm over here is not only separated from the shoulder socket, but separated from the forearm as well. Like, whoever did this hated Bonnie, or was programmed to do such instructions. We'll get onto more of that later on. I'm sure some people who know more about the lore, especially from the books, will know where I'm going with this. So, let's start from the beginning. Bonnie was surprised, whether that was because he was lured in or he was already in here and somebody took it upon themselves to end him. Bonnie was probably either pushed against the wall really violently or hit over the back of the head, or side of the head, with a bowling ball. Bonnie cracks front on, chest on, onto this wall, slides down the wall, and falls backwards. Here, the culprit then proceeds to go ahead and attack the chest with their big old claws. From there, they just set about his limbs. Absolutely set about his limbs, ripping them apart and leaving him basically just a head, top of the torso, and potentially just his right arm. From here, then the final blow is either dealt with a bowling ball or they're just left. They are just left at that point. Bonnie can't do anything. Bonnie is unable to move with such a disgusting amount of injuries done to them. Bonnie is stuck here. Then either the Pat bots are summoned via Bonnie, sending out a distress signal, and the Pat bots are over here like, oh, hey, Fazbear workers who don't exist anymore, there's an incident over here, you might want to come and check out one of your animatronics, and then, yeah, unfortunately, that's where it is. Or Bonnie puts his soul into each one of these in the hopes of alerting Freddy or alerting one of his friends to help him out. Whatever's happened, Bonnie has seen some stuff that should never, ever get out. Bonnie's seen horrific things, no matter who did the deed. Now, let's go through them. Okay, so first of all, I don't think it's Roxanne Wolf. I think the only reason people are saying it was probably Roxy was because of the claw marks and the potential green. I think that green is actually maybe a slight grey, or just the way that the paint has rubbed off on Bonnie's animatronic suit against the wall. And if you have a look at the wall, it's not really a grey, it's like a greeny grey. So I think maybe they are very similar. So I don't think it was Roxanne, especially because of the way she has more sentience in this game. Roxanne, off the list. I think she's a good. Next up, let's go for Vanessa/Vanny. We already can tell by the destruction here, Vanny couldn't have done it herself. I know she's a strong, confident woman, but I don't think she's able to do this amount of damage. So she's clearly ordered someone. Now, that someone probably would have been Montgomery Gator. That's where everything is pointing. Everything is pointing towards the aggressive alligator who usurped Bonnie from the band. Now, is this true? Very possibly. We're gonna go and check Montgomery Gator's ride in a minute, which is just absolute Fazbear propaganda, by the way, but it could have been Montgomery Gator. What do we know about Montgomery Gator? He's very aggressive. He wants to destroy things, and he's clearly got some sort of violent streak in him, and he's got big claws. Now, the counterpoint to us saying that he's got big claws and could have done this, apparently, he does not get the big claws, which were Bonnie's claws, by the way, which aren't here. Bonnie's claws are clearly still part of Bonnie over here. Bonnie's claw upgrade, Monty's claw upgrade didn't happen until Bonnie went missing. It was afterwards. We learned about this in the Security Breach files. Not the files themselves, the Fazwatch files you could find around the place that were part of the Security Breach team. They were talking to each other, and that's where we learned about Bonnie going missing at a certain time, and Bonnie was last seen going towards Monty Golf, and that's where everybody was like, well, Monty's done it. Monty's clearly done it. He went towards Monty Golf. That was the last time Bonnie was seen. But as we can tell from this game, well, we clearly see that what happened is here. The scene of the crime is here, and that's not in Monty Golf. And Monty Golf is on a completely different floor to Bonnie Bowl. Bonnie Bowl's right at the very top of the Pizzaplex, and Monty Golf is at the very bottom. So there's no way to quickly go between the two of them. So it seems to me that somebody's trying to frame Monty over here. Somebody's trying to frame Monty. Now, I mean, Monty could have lured Bonnie all the way back here into this back alley, pretending that he needed to do something or whatever. But it doesn't seem like that. Seems very convoluted. Next, we will go and have a look more evidence in this in just a second. But while we're here, let's speculate what happens if it was the Mimic that did this. Now, a lot of people are thinking about that, and we'll go over that just now as well. Now, the Mimic, well, we've already seen, Mimic has very, very big claws. Very big claws. And they could have done the damage that we see on the very front here. Which actually, going back onto another point that it couldn't have been Vanessa, a lot of the theories in Security Breach, everybody thought that Bonnie went missing because Vanny needed the parts of or the endoskeleton parts of Bonnie to rebuild Afton, to rebuild Burntrap, because the claws were very similar. However, we learned that that isn't true because the endoskeleton's completely here, and that probably explains why the Mimic is already underground and the Mimic can change the Mimic's endoskeleton to whatever it wants to be. So the Mimic wouldn't actually need parts for Bonnie, and here we are. The parts are all here. So let's go back to the Mimic again. So the Mimic has got really long, sharp claws. So one of the arms is very similar, if not exactly the same, to the burn trap model we see in Security Breach. So I think that's the clue Steel Wool are giving us, that burn trap is the Mimic. Makes a lot more sense than there being a burn trap and a Mimic. It doesn't make much sense there, but if the Mimic is the burn trap, then that does make sense, especially with the lore that the Mimic wears various different suits. The Mimic is trying to fit in somewhere, and his whole characteristic is he was designed to mimic. It was, I can't remember what the guy's name, a man made the Mimic program to mimic his son, so his son wasn't lonely. So the Mimic would watch the son's behavior, and they would copy the characteristics to keep the son entertained and wouldn't be lonely. Unfortunately, the son went bye-bye, the man went crazy and started wailing, started beating up the Mimic, and then the Mimic obviously picked up on that aggressive behavior. Later on, the Fazbear Entertainment picked up the Mimic, and the Mimic was set to work, and they copied the Mimic program, and this is long story short, we end up here. But one of the Mimic's protocols or jobs at one point was to disassemble animatronics, and the way the Mimic would disassemble animatronics was tear them apart limb from limb. He would literally take off the legs, take off the arms, and just deconstruct them. And that's how the Mimic went about endgaming some humans as well, because he would just disassemble them in the very same way, because the Mimic I don't think is inherently bad, even though it mimicked Afton's behavior, and that's where Glitch Trap came from. But yeah, anyway, long story short, what has happened here, the Mimic, if it is them, has disassembled Bonnie limb from limb. This is either a program that has done it, or it's a sheer hatred. Now, the reason I don't think Monty did it, because Monty, whilst being aggressive, showed no signs of hating Bonnie. Let's go and look in that just now. Okay, back to Montgomery Gator's ride, or as I like to call it, the Fazbear Entertainment's propaganda. Now, whilst we can't really trust and believe what's on this ride because it's been made by the Fazbear Entertainment to cover up Bonnie's disappearance, we can take some very good points from it. So, this is a story about where Monty originated. Monty originated as a solo act out here in Monty Golf. It was Monty's one-man jug band. Monty was happy, he was chilling out, and he was just playing on his own. Obviously, at some point, Monty had admired and loved the Glamrock animatronics because they were getting all the stardom, they were getting all the attention, the crowd was right there in front of them, and everybody was happy and loving them. Then this is where the Fazbear Entertainment comes in with their propaganda. It looks like Bonnie retires and hands off the torch, passes the electric guitar to Montgomery Gator. Montgomery Gator then gets his upgrade, he gets the Glamrock lifestyle from Roxy over there, and he starts wowing the crowds with his shredding skills. He is looking absolutely amazing, so amazing that he is creating tornadoes of joy via just his sheer axe skills. And if we have a look up there, there's poor Bonnie just getting blown away, which again is hinting that perhaps it was Monty that got rid of Bonnie. But again, can you really believe this? Because it's Fazbear Entertainment propaganda. Now let's go and explore this area in a little more detail. Okay, so here we go, looking a bit more closely. So Montgomery Gator over there is looking amazing, and he is absolutely shredding on the guitar, shredding so much that the sheer wind propulsion has knocked Bonnie away. Now Bonnie is here, Bonnie is gone, Bonnie is trapped, and he is been endgame there. Now, what is this? What is the purpose of this over here? Is this the purpose of Steel Wool hinting at who actually got rid of Bonnie? Is it hinting that it was Montgomery Gator that got rid of our sweet, sweet rabbit friend? Or is it Fazbear propaganda that is hinting that that's what's happened? This is where I'm confused. Why is this here? Maybe it's just a metaphor by the Fazbear Entertainment saying that Monty absolutely blew Bonnie out of this world, and Monty was so good, they didn't need to replace Bonnie anymore. Everybody forgot about Bonnie. Bonnie is a figment of everybody's imagination at this point. You don't need to worry about Bonnie anymore because Montgomery Gator is clearly the superior animal over here. It could be taken either way. But as you can see, Monty has got the claw upgrade, but that only happens after Bonnie's gone. So I don't think that Bonnie was attacked with the claw marks that we see on Bonnie's chest. I don't think that was Monty, purely for that fact alone. However, let's go back through and have a look at more of the evidence. That's not really that important. It's this part over here. This is just a little cutout. There we go. Monty's not got the claw upgrade here. Monty is getting passed off. Bonnie is passing it over. It's this part here that's very important. I think all along, this part of the ride is true. I think Montgomery Gator admired Bonnie. The mimic doesn't want me learning the truth. Montgomery Gator, I think, really did admire Bonnie. I think he wanted to be a Glamrock member, but he did not want to be just the guitarist. He wanted to be the lead. He had ambition. This was an ambitious alligator, and he didn't just want to be the solo master. He wanted to be in Freddy's place. And that is why Freddy over there is in the darkness. Nobody else is in the darkness but Freddy, and Freddy's off to the side. Normally, if you were the lead man, you were the front man, you would be right at the front. You would be front and center, and that's why I think that Montgomery Gator actually hated Freddy and liked and admired Bonnie. That's why he was probably happy to take over, and that might explain Monty's behavior in the game as well, because if somebody he admired, not only did he take their place in the band, but they're gone, they're vanished, you don't know what's happened to them. They're no longer around. Have they been decommissioned? Have they been destroyed? What has happened to your potential friend / somebody you look up to? They've gone. You would be angry. You'd be looking for clues. So that might explain part of Monty's behavior, and then at the point of ruin, he's just gone completely feral. His life has gone from just living in the swamp life, going up to rock stardom, and then just becoming half the man you used to be. And another thing I would like to point out is Freddy over here. Freddy in Monty's whirlwind has been absolutely... He's lost his head, which again foreshadows what's happened in this game, by the way. Still very clever, but it shows that Monty has an aggression towards Freddy, right? An aggression towards Freddy has got rid of him. He now wants to be the front man, and if we have a look at one of the endings in Security Breach, when you escape via the loading bay dock doors, you see when Freddy and Gregory escape in the car, the ending the secret ending after the credits is that Monty has replaced Freddy in the band, and the Freddy's been replaced completely by Glamrock Mr. Hippo. So Monty finally got what he wanted and was the main man. Monty's ambition extends higher than getting rid of Bonnie. He wanted to get rid of Freddy. That is why I do not personally think that it was Montgomery Gator that did the deed. There's some more evidence we're going to look at just now as well. Now let's take a trip down memory lane. We're back as Gregory in Security Breach. Now there's a couple of messages in here that I want to look at. Okay, here we go. Understudy, management report. With Bonnie out of commission, here kind of suggests that they know that Bonnie has been damaged and not that Bonnie is missing. Out of commission would suggest they know what's happened. But why don't they fix him? That's an interesting point. We are making Monty the new bass player. Parts and Service has already done the proper adjustments, which is giving him Bonnie's claws so that he can strum the guitar or the bass. This could be a good thing. Monty could be even more popular than Bonnie, which I think he does turn out to be more popular. Except in our fandom, when we're all like, bring Bonnie back! Hashtag bring back Bonnie! I don't think this game is done with, obviously, judging by the ending with the mimic and in the elevator with Cassie. That is the canon ending to this game. So the fact that the elevator falls back in and then Roxy is seemingly alive again at the end after the credits. Is it after the credits? I can't remember. I think it is after the credits. Roxy says Cassie. She calls Cassie by her name, and that is also the only ending that is has like a secret bit after the credits. So I think there's more to be done in this game, and I would like to see that Bonnie has a larger part, some way, shape, or form. There seems to be something there to do with Bonnie that is still unresolved. There's no lines, there's no reaction from Cassie when she sees Bonnie. It seems to be just a little Easter egg at this point to suggest what's happened to Bonnie. I still think there's a bigger picture in here. Next up, let's look to see where the next bit of information is. is. Re-theme management report. The bowling alley needs a re-theme. While most of Bonnie art was already removed, kids keep asking, where's Bonnie? Do we have an officially approved response? Then underneath we've got missing. Bonnie has been seen leaving his green room in Rockstar Row, which I think has actually been retconned, because Bonnie's green room is actually under Bonnie Bowl. When you go through the curtain later on in the game, you see the poster and the Bonnie area where Bonnie gets ready. But I don't know if this is retconned or if Bonnie just had 2 green rooms before the Bonnie's in Rockstar Row was changed over from Monty's. Heading toward... Okay, so Bonnie was seen leaving his green room in Rockstar Row, heading east towards the atrium. Bonnie enters the East Arcade. Bonnie enters Monty Golf. So Bonnie... What was Bonnie doing in this time? This is why a lot of people suggested that maybe he has seen something that he shouldn't have, and that's why Vanessa/Vanny has set Monty on Bonnie. But this is also a clue. Bonnie enters Monty Golf. That's why everybody is suggesting that it was Monty that did it. But judging by this game, we can clearly see the scene of the crime was in Bonnie Bowl itself. So, from this information here, we can gather 2 things. That the Fazbear Company is definitely trying to hide something, or the Mimic... Now, I don't know, this seems like a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to put it in there as well. The Mimic has altered files. The Mimic has been... Because there's no name on who sent these messages. It's just a message. So has the Mimic placed this bit of information to frame Monty? What would the Mimic get out of this? I don't know. Vanessa could get something out of it because she doesn't want her ultimate plan being revealed. She doesn't want Burn Trap being found, because that was her ultimate aim, was to bring Afton back, was to get the Glitch Trap virus, which we now know is the Mimic, back into the animatronic. I don't know. There's still so many fuzzy things going around. If people can make it a bit clearer, let me know. I'm just giving you the facts that we have in the game, that we're going to present it as a story. So yeah, it could have been the Mimic messing with the files over here, trying to trick people into doing what they want. Why the Mimic wanted Bonnie gone, I don't know. Again, maybe Bonnie has seen something to do with the Mimic. Let's face it, the Mimic can control this place. It's the Mimic virus that is taking control of all this Pizzaplex and the animatronics and making the animatronics' behavior amplified. That's why Roxy is so aggressive, and that's why Monty is so violent. That's why Chica has the eating disorder. Everything has been heightened via the Mimic's program. And we already know that the Fazbear Company has used the Mimic program to try and create loads of endoskeletons on the cheap and make them just learn quickly on the job, because they just copy what the other one's doing. So it's an easy way to save money. And knowing the Fazbear Company, they probably saved a lot of money, but they also made a lot of errors by doing that. So yeah, I just want to come back in here and point out this little bit of information again. Is also... It could be for any of them. It could have been Vanny. This information here could have been Vanny, like we already assumed. It could have been Vanny catching Bonnie, going to areas where he wasn't supposed to go, breaking his programming, which then would lead to them having to get rid of Bonnie. Then it could have been Monty, because Monty's wanted to replace Bonnie in the band, so got rid of him. Or it could have been the Mimic getting rid of Bonnie for some unknown reason. Maybe the Mimic was able to wander the Pizzaplex at some point before getting cemented behind this wall. As far as I know, we don't know the timeline in which the Mimic was actually cemented behind the wall. Could the Mimic have been free? If it was Burn Trap, all that was stopping Burn Trap from escaping was just not being charged up. Because as soon as we came down into the bowels of the Pizzaplex, the Burn Trap thing opened up. He obviously sensed that somebody was here. Whether he was woken up too early, I don't know. But clearly, it looks to me like Gregory and Vanessa have sealed the Mimic behind the wall. That's what it looks like. They've lured the Mimic into that area that's behind the concrete wall, and then to boost that defense of just a brick wall, they have gone ahead and put the Nexus system in that is locked in behind security gate, behind security gate, behind security gate, because the Mimic isn't just a physical being, the Mimic is also a program, so they need to have that double layer of security. So, The Mimic could possibly have wandered around the Pizzaplex, found Bonnie, or Bonnie found the Mimic, and it was like, oh, we need to hide this. Bonnie can't tell that I'm here, and then has destroyed Bonnie, ripped him limb from limb, and then that's it. It is done. Bonnie's gone missing and hidden. And then at this point, the Fazbear Initiative probably went, you know what? Monty's quite popular. Why replace Bonnie at this point? This could be a great way to bring in new customers, just like they do with anything nowadays. You bring in something new, exciting, people are going to be like, wow, Monty's been promoted, he's a Glamrock now, we got to go and see the new show, boys and girls. Let's take the kids to go and have a little bit of pizza, play at Roxy Raceway, have a little bit of Fazzer Blasting. It's just a new marketing strategy. So it doesn't matter what the Fazbear Entertainment higher-ups think of the situation. They're only thinking of the dollar bills, and they see this as an opportunity to bring in some more hard cheddar. Another point, we already know that the Mimic can influence the Vanny mask that we wear in this game, because sometimes when we're talking, we get the little helpy fella popping up, and he just instructs us about what's happening. But if you look very closely, sometimes his eyes go from blue, like this helpy over here, showing that that's the real helpy, to yellow, and there's like a little veiny crack that appears right beside his eyes as well. I think we can assume at that point that is the Mimic using the Mimic 1 program to influence the decisions and influence Cassie into doing things that will actually lead to helping. There's so many clues in this game that you don't really pick up. They're quite subtle, but they're very good. I do like it. Anyway, let's get back through here. Let's go back and see my good friend Bonnie, and we'll end off this lovely, lovely theory. Yes, Bonnie's green room's down there. Bonnie's green room's behind this curtain. So, obviously, when you unlock the parent node there and the child node, you walk down there and you get into Bonnie's green room. So, either Bonnie had 2 green rooms, or somebody's lying about that message, and that could have been the Mimic that's lying about the message, because potentially the Mimic doesn't actually know that Bonnie doesn't have a green room there. Again, another case for that the Mimic is messing with the files. Obviously, all of this is just conjecture, looking at the evidence that we've got, analyzing the bode and the crime scene. This is just a video of me putting together everything that I've thought of as I've been playing, everything that I've found of today, and every little secret and myth you've been popping down in the comment section below. But please, let me know what you think. Let me know who you think did it, and if there's some evidence that I have missed, please let me know down in the comment section below. We're going to go over it one more time. I think Bonnie was either lured here or surprised. Bonnie was then smacked off the back of the head with a bowling ball, landed chest first against that wall. Scraping down the wall with their chest as they fell would lead to some of the discoloration on the front of Bonnie's chest cavity. Bonnie was then set upon by whatever creature it was, and then probably caused the big claw marks here. And that's when the chest was ripped open. The body was then probably incapacitated pretty much, or to make sure that Bonnie was incapacitated, the limbs were then ripped off one by one. And not just ripped off, but absolutely destroyed at the same time. Each socket joint was ripped off, apart from probably these ones over here. By then, whoever it was either decided to finish them off with another bowling ball crack that made the bowling ball land like this. That's probably what has happened. This has been the final dent to the head over here, and then Bonnie has just been left. At that point, whoever done it has either realized they've gone too far, realized they don't need to do it anymore, or been scared off. And that's when Bonnie was left here. The wet floor signs have probably then gathered around to try and alert somebody that something was going off. I mean, if we look back at the base game, if you Fazzer blasted one of these fellas, they would spin around in circles and alert one of the animatronics. So it was probably the same sort of system. They were trying to alert somebody that Bonnie was here. Unfortunately, their message never got through. So, either then Bonnie tried to possess these fellas to try and signal for help himself, or they were keeping him alive, because technically, when you turn them all off, Bonnie's eyes are meant to disappear, unless I've done something else in the game that's kept Bonnie in there. But Bonnie is technically still alive at the start of this game, so either we free his soul, or he's still trapped in here permanently. I still think there's a huge potential with the story of Bonnie, and I don't think it's done yet. Bonnie, R.I.P. Can we get some F's in the chat, please, for my boy Bonnie? Can we please get some F's in the chat for my boy Bonnie? Oh, I miss you. I want you back in the game. It's the mystery, it's the lure, it's the design, everything about Bonnie. There's just still so much more. Whatever happened, it happened horribly, and whoever did it really, really had a vendetta against them. I, personally, going out on a limb, it's either Monty or Mimic. I'm leaning towards more the Mimic just because of the limb damage. There's other evidence I've explained in this story that could either be for or against the mimic being it, but I think it's pretty much the mimic. Who agrees? Let me know down in the comment section below. Either way, wow, what an episode. I love going through this stuff, and I love analyzing the evidence. I love looking at what we've got before us and pointing things out. If there is anything I've missed to do with this story about Glamrock Bonnie, let me know down in the comment section below. And obviously, all your myths, theories, and experiments for another episode, please pop them down there as well. But hey, if you did enjoy today's video, please go ahead and smash that like button. And round about my face just now, there's going to be some more FNAF Ruin videos I know you will enjoy. So click one of them bad boys, and I'll see you over there. I'm Razzbowski. You've been the beautiful raspberries as always for watching, and I love each and every single one of you. Goodbye!